Hi, I'm Kudo Mal, Branch Chief of Kudo Wales in the UK. I'm on a mission to raise awareness for Kudo and the benefits of being a martial artist. Kudo is a full contact mixed martial art and combat sport developed by Grandmaster Azuma Takashi. In my opinion, Kudo is the perfect way for martial arts to pressure test the efficiency and their technique as well as their fighting ability, as it's the closest thing you're going to get to a real fight. Today on Fighting Talk we have an absolute treat. The former light heavyweight Bellator champion Liam McGeary.
A monster light heavyweight. Everyone talks about his height, his range, his size, but he's so athletic. A great striker with outstanding submission skills. He has it all.
I'm Liam McGeary, from the UK, now living in the USA. You do not want to mess with me.
There he is, Liam McGeary. Oosha.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
There we go. Turn that to the side.
So I
Right.
just thought I'd bring a bit of home for you. You know, it's Fighting Talk, you know, so Welshman in the house, Welshman.
I see. Nice.
I got a hoodie on and you're sat in your
mate.
pants.
Dude, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's roasting.
Is it?
Yeah, it's warm. Yeah.
So you still got a hairdresser then? Because I got a nice COVID cut I have. This is a DIY.
You know, mine's just laziness, like pure laziness. My son's got done the other day. I was thinking about doing it, but
yeah.
something else came up, changing nappies or something.
We're all travellers, aren't we? I think the British can't keep in one place.
Exactly that. Hey, mate, you know what I've always said? This world is so big, right? It's like your big playground. Just go around and do whatever, you know where your home is. You know what I mean? Like, I know where my home is, so like I just go out and see the place. It's worth seeing.
Well, Josh, who sent you the message direct, right? He was going, I'm gonna get Liam for you. I'm gonna get Liam for you. And I was like, go for it, man. If you think you can get him on, that'd be brilliant, you know. And then he's going to me, I'd like to fight him. I'd like to fight him. And I said, well, if Liam ever comes over here, right? If he ever comes over here, I'm walking out the door. The guy is the size of the door, right? Anybody that's 6'6" and grapples, right, doesn't need to grapple. It's like he's a big guy, like, and he's going, oh, he's great, isn't he? I mean, even if he just knocks me out, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? So just give him a shout out for that. But so I'll go on to the questions and stuff, right? So you've got like you know, anybody that follows MMA is going to know you, especially if they're British and stuff, because you look into that and you're thinking, you know, he's gone stateside, he's done really well for himself. But you know, how do you go about introducing yourself to someone who doesn't know, right? Because you're a big guy, right? And you say, I'm Liam, I'm a former Bellator world champion. How do you go describe what you do for a living? Like?
No, I don't. I just introduce myself as me. I'm Liam McGeary. Nice to meet you. Shake their hand. And there's always that look. They're like a little bit weird and like looking at the size of me, and they're like, "What do you do?" I fight a little. You know, I do a little bit of fighting. They're like, "Oh, okay, so you do a bit of fighting." I don't tell them who I am or what I do or where. Yeah. And then if they ask a question, you know, who do you fight for? Bellator MMA. Have you heard of them? Oh yeah. You look familiar, and then that just goes from there. I don't know. I wouldn't introduce myself as former world champion. You know,
here's my card.
Exactly. Yeah. Just walk around with a belt still on wrapped around my waist.
Motivational trainer. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, just with the injuries as such as it's just kind of. I just want to get better. Yeah. You know, it's been a couple of years now of riddled with injuries, so now I just want to. Just focus on getting better.
In the right place in your head, and then going with it.
And this helps the lockdown. You know, it was a long period of like just when I was about ready to get back in, the lockdown comes, so it's helped to reel it back in as well. You know, I learned patience.
Yeah,
I never had patience before. Like,
it's a hard lesson, right?
Exactly. So
with the, like, you know, when you're all kind of trimmed up, so you've got the image ready for, you know, you're getting yourself into gear and all the rest of it. And you know, one of the things that MMA's got in a lot of circles is got almost like a bad reputation for for being quite barbaric and all the rest of it, right? And then when people say that to me about Kudo, I'm laughing because I'm thinking, you know, you got a head guard on, you know, you got a gi on, and you got referees that are, you know, we can't ground and pound. So once you get to the ground, you've got to simulate. The guy on his back can punch as hard as he likes, but you've got to simulate. So there's certain rules in Kudo that are not in, like, obviously any sort of MMA, professional MMA. But, you know, what have you experienced any sort of prejudice about, like, you know, you being a fighter for like Bellator, or do you think that the actual image is a lot better than, you know, than it has been over here anyway?
I think, I lived in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
In between, you know where Jersey is, Channel Islands, right? So I lived there, and no one knew they don't know what MMA is. You know, that what do you do? I'm a mixed martial artist, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? Oh, I do a bit of fighting. I was like, what do you mean? The cage fighting, and that's what they call it. It's cage fighting.
Yeah.
Whereas over here, it's known as mixed martial arts, right?
Yeah.
I think it's because the sport has evolved so much over here. It is where it's at, and it hasn't got. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Like it has the people there that are passionate enough for the sport to build it up there, but it just doesn't have the same knowledge. Like the people, the supporters, the fans, they're not as knowledgeable as they are over here. Where like we like a good scrap, right? Boxing, sound. Stand up, good toe to toe, fucking people knocking 10 bells of shit out of each other, right? That's what we enjoy watching from England. So when it goes down to the ground, we're like, oh, what they're doing, you know, there's a lot of booze and they don't really understand what's happening down there. Whereas over here, because the sport has been going for so long, they understand like the importance of the jiu-jitsu. But and now as the sport is, because it's still only 25 years old, it's still a very young sport. You know what I mean? So but now it's getting the recognition it deserves, and it's getting treated the way it deserves, right? So now it's like, as it's evolving, hopefully, like we can bring it over to England and give people more knowledge that way, you know. But it just needs more people doing pretty much what I've done, getting themselves from England and making a name for themselves, and then coming over and then just doing what we do over here.
Makes sense.
I'll be able to help out with that one, but like at the moment, I still got a little bit to do. as you know yourself. As you know yourself, you run in the gym, being an ex-fighter and all that, you can't do the both. It's very difficult to do. Like, you need to have the patience, you need to have the mindset, and you need to be able to cut it and switch it over and go into fight mode, you know?
I mean, it's good, like you said, it's growing over here. You know, the thing that I'm trying to do is push the Kudo, because it's, I think it's like a really good stepping stone. So I've had students that have got to a point, and it's no longer a hobby. So one of my students, Ethan, you know, he's a young lad, and he's like, no, I want to fight. I want to fight in the cage, maybe a top level or whatever. He said, but that's what I want to do. So I'm like, well, you know, you're going to have to go beyond me, because you're going to need a team. You're going to need a lot more people. You're going to have a lot more exposure. You're going to have to go to lots of different dojos and stuff. So that was great for me, because I could say, good luck, you know, and I'd set him on his way and stuff. So, you know, like there's quite a lot of kids that I don't think they fully understand what they're going to have to go through. You know, they're not just going to be, you know, translating street fighting or a bit of hobby martial arts to becoming a world champion like yourself. Is just polar apart, right? And I seen one of the videos that you did where you were training like three places in a day. You know, I mean, what was your advice to be to someone like you're a 17-year-old, right? That everybody's telling him, don't chase your dreams, you don't want to be a professional fighter. You know, there's no money in that. What's your backup? What's your trade? All the rest of it, and they're burning to do it. You know, would you say get on a plane, get to the States, because that's the place that you're going to find it, or do you think it's something that they can do here?
First of all, I wouldn't listen to what anyone else has to say. But as a 17-year-old, like, that's all that you've got is people telling you should do this, you should do that, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And then all the pressure's building up on them. And then they're thinking, fuck, what have I got to do? What if I mess up? Then it puts too much pressure on them. They got to just do them. But they have to learn that thing. You have to go through these fucking trials and tribulations and all of these mistakes and bad choices to get there. But you know what I find, like, it's all built on foundations, you know. If you've got a good foundation, and the foundations are not like you come from a great home, you got fucking money, and you can them kind of foundations, real foundations that make you as a person. Like it's going to push you on, because you're going to come to a hurdle. You don't want that hurdle to break you, but you've been through fucking so much before in your lifetime. Fucking piece of piss. Sound, yeah, all right, no worries. If you truly know yourself, like I truly knew that I could become a world champion. I was like, all the people in the world, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. Oh, yeah, all right then. My upbringing, my background, like was, and I shouldn't be in America. No, I'm either in jail or dead. Like, you know what I mean? One of those ones. But I didn't listen to what people said, and I fucking went and did what I wanted to do, and I became a world champion in 2 years. Now I've been riddled with injuries, like, but it's the fire and the passion is always there. It's still there, and it will always be there. Yeah. But I'm just waiting for my body to heal so I can continue on.
But before we met, have you heard of Kudo before? Because most people haven't.
You know what, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Yeah. I didn't, and I thought it was the name of your gym, but then I just looked it up on the internet, and I was like, this Japanese style of fighting, everything has been around for so long. There's been so many martial arts, but I never knew about any of these when I was younger. No. All I knew is I had to go to work, earn some money, and fucking pay the bills, right? That was all I knew. Yeah. So that's what I did. And then I got in a good punch up at the weekend because I enjoyed to have a good punch up. Like, but now knowing about Kudo and then all the other ones is like, but you know what? I'm not going to be one of those ones. Oh, I wish I could do it all over again. And then I do that. Like, we'd all do it differently again, but we didn't. This is our life. We make the most of it and we enjoy the one we got.
Yeah, man. So, like, what did you think of it anyway? Because obviously, it's
I think it's amazing.
Stuff up, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. A good, as you say, a good starter block, a good base of a martial arts, understanding the principles of striking and getting them to the ground and moving and still continuing the fight, getting into a position to continue to strike.
Well, people say like, because when we're plugging Kudo, you say, a lot of them say, oh, it's the closest thing to a real fight, right? And then I'm thinking, well, when you got the gear on, it keeps it safe, right? But it does give you the feeling of, being overwhelmed with loads of strikes and that sort of thing. And then people say, oh, well, it's a bit rough, right? Because that's all the traditional martial arts. They want to keep it kind of very clean looking and so on.
You can't. It's a fight. A fight is rough. Like, this is, it is exactly what it says on the label, right? It's a fight. It gets rough, like, but it's fine. You're not going to hurt yourself. Like, it's perfectly fine. The world is rough. This is just a little like play fight amongst fucking friends, and you won't beat the camaraderie and the brotherhood that you get in the gym from doing what you do on a daily basis, and people who don't do it won't understand.
Well, I've been talking to quite a few people and saying to them, like, if you've had very little experience of fighting for real, I mean, even if it's just like being beaten up, but for real, like on the street or, in bars and that sort of stuff, how do you think that MMA actually translates to the street as far as kind of skills to be, the closest thing to self-defense then?
I mean, it will. It's the closest thing to self-defense on the street. But when you train MMA, right, and when you're training to be a fighter, you're in the gym. You don't necessarily you don't look for any elsewhere. I mean, it's always nice to know that you have it, and it gives you that inner confidence. Yeah. So if you are on the street and you're confronted with this situation, you know what to do to handle it. Handle it. You don't get scared. You don't freak out. You don't start fucking doing all the wrong things. You'll know how to do it in this situation because you're in this on a daily basis, on a regular. Yeah. Every day you're put in these positions. You're just in a different situation, but it's still the same. It's still a fight. It's still what you're doing and what you're training to do. Yeah. So I believe it does help, and I believe with what's going on now, like it definitely should help. Everyone should definitely have a martial arts training. Like, if some to some degree of understanding of the sport or any sport, any discipline, which is going to help. Yours will help, but obviously to become a MMA fighter, you're not going to be able to just go off of Kudo. You will have to use that. Then you go to something else. Like I started off at boxing long time ago. From boxing, then I learned jiu-jitsu, and then I put everything together like into MMA. Yeah. But it's always not. You've got to learn one, and then focus on another one, focus on another one, and another, it's mixed martial arts, like mixed.
Yeah, and making your own, right? Making your own.
Yes.
Because I mean, that's supposed to be amazing, right? Because when I see guys that are like 6'6", like yourself, you're 6'6", right? You're 6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, man, this is a tough day at the office, this one, right? Because if I go to the ground, you know, it's gonna be tough. He's gonna range on me. You know, it's a tough one. I'm thinking to myself half the time, you know, like they're big. Do they really need martial arts? I mean, you're saying that you needed it, right? But someone that's quite big, you know, is it like one of those I don't know, like a myth that people go for big guys? Did you know you said like you know you'd have scrap or something on the weekend? Do you find that people would be going for you? They pick you out because of the size, or do you think they're deterred by that? Yeah, they think
No. Listen, right, okay, I should say this, like, right. So you get started on by some small dude in a bar, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, he gets his ass kicked, right? Then he turns around and he's like, did you see the size of him, though, right?
Yeah.
But then he wins, and he says, did you see the size of him, though, right?
Yeah, right,
Exactly the same lines, two different meanings, right?
Mm.
That's exactly the reason why a short man fucking goes up to what have they got to lose?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? If they win, they're fucking, did you see the size of him? If they lose, but did you see the size of him? Same fucking line, exactly the same way of like, you know what I mean? So they'll try. And when you've got a beer inside, you think, oh, well, you know what? Yeah.
Well, this is what I was going to say to you, because obviously we're both fathers to young kids, right? And that takes a lot more energy out of me than anything else. Like, I hate to admit it, but my wife's got it down. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And anyway, so it's kind
they
of
make
like,
it look so easy as well.
I know, it's just off the chart. It winds me up.
I'm like flapping around.
She goes to work, and by the end of the day, like, she comes back and everything's everywhere. You know, there's like nappies, there's like, I've tried cooking, and
yeah, the pants are still there. I'll do it all when you get home, love. It's all right.
so it's the fight we're not talking about, because a lot of the guys, when they want to spar, right, and I don't mind sparring, obviously, as the skill level goes up, because you kind of want to build everybody as a coach, right, and then get them.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, you've got to learn to stand and bang, right, and then I'm like, well, you know, as the coach, they kind of do you really want to do that? Unless you've got a big club. So it's really about that fire inside, right? And I was talking to you earlier to say that, like, I kind of started losing that fire to fight, because obviously I had what I wanted. You know, I got the house, you know, the kids, and I'm settled, and my job is great, you know, and all those sorts of things. And I mean, it's different. Your career, you have to keep that fire going. You have to keep that fire inside, right? And then, you know, getting to the top, because I always thought, like, easier when you've got nothing to lose. You know, you just go at it, like you said, that little guy going at you, right? And getting that world championship. And I remember your response was kind of like, when he wrapped the belt around me, I was kind of thinking, like, I would have been jumping around and all the rest of it. And it wasn't like that. It was just, I was knackered, and I just want to go back. And you know,
I did, yeah.
You've done that. And I totally understand, like, you know, everything's built up to that point. But you know, what keeps the fire in you now, man? Because you're going to have to, you know, you got this time, you're going to get back to it, you're going to go back at it again, right? But what motivates you? What gives you that fire?
I had the same, so I looked at these questions, and I chatted to my wife, right? Yeah. It's always there.
Is it?
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it might not burn as brightly as what it usually does, but it's always there. There's always something. It's just something inside, like, some people go to fight. Some people do this because they wanted to chase. They competed when they was younger. They enjoyed the attention. You know, they enjoy the competition side of things. So that's what they're chasing. They want more competition, more competition. Wrestlers go to, like, the NCAA Wrestling Championship. I went to that in Madison Square Garden. Right, these are kids competing, and like the amount of people that in there watching and cheering them on, like, it was amazing, like, to even witness it. And when you're feeling that as a kid, you want to chase it, right? I never had that. I worked on a building site. I was fucking steel fixer for all my life, right? Yeah. So, but I had the fire inside to fight, because I was always fighting on the weekend. Yeah. When the building trade went down, I needed to feed this. I needed to feed that the fire. I need to feed the flame by training and by fighting. And it's still, even now, I've had this year injury, and I've been out for a long time, and I've had a lot of time. I haven't been able to go near the gym. that fire has now got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's, again, with the lockdown, we described this earlier, we talked about this earlier on, being locked up in the house, you know, it's very hard to fucking control, you know, and it's, I will
He'll
not.
be like Danny the dog,
Well, exactly. You know,
let him out.
Yeah, but it goes back to like knowing what not to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know what not to do, so you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just like shit that you've been through fucking in the past, so you know, like you know these situations, you've seen it before, so you're not like, okay. So you got to contain it and you got to control it. But then I made that thing. You've got to find a way of letting this one out. So I think, to be honest with you, mate, I'm always going to fight. Like, it won't be a level of fighting up in time. It might, I don't know, when I'm 10 years time, but I'll be in the gym and you'll always see me with a fucking pair of gloves on, headgear on, saying, right, let's go. All the young ones, come on and let's fucking see what you got, mate. You know what I mean? Like, let's see if you can really fucking handle it. Like, I just enjoy fucking fighting. Like,
well, that's the thing. I've always argued that's exactly what I was saying. I mean, because as a coach, right, my fire comes from fairness, because I was like, it's about being treated badly. It's about kind of sticking up for your mates that can't stick up for themselves. All of those things, they absolutely boil my right. And and I'm like, that's what will get me fighting. But in the dojo, it's different, right? Because I see these different people and I can see their potential and I want to help them. That's what gives me the fire, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Like, you know, like talking to you to push MMA because of the benefits of it, right? So, you know, I've been in a career where I've been able to help kids very challenging situations in their life, and now I'm trying to use martial arts as the medium to be able to do that. So, and basically, if they're not going to school, you know, they could come to me during the daytime. You know, they can learn some skills. They can kind of take that edge off, you know, like that. Because you've got natural fighters. You're a natural fighter, and that's where you can see that comes through. I'm not, right? Because once I've kind of done, like I chased the belt. So when I got to the belt, I was like, I don't need to do any more of that one, you know, and I'm doing this and this. And then actually when someone says, it was like my Kudo black belt, for instance. It was like, it was karate black belt and blah, blah, blah. And people go, well, actually, why do you need another belt? And I don't. The only reason I did it is because if I get a black belt in Kudo, so my students can grade. So my students can follow that path, right? So I put myself forward for that. And then once that's done, I'm like, right, okay, until there's another challenge, where the challenges are different, right? And the question I had was that, like, for the kids, how important do you think, like, because you've said how important MMA is for you, right? Just generally, martial arts, fighting, that sort of thing. You know, how do you think that it's important for the kids, you know, because a lot of people say MMA is no good, you know, it's like, well, why would you teach them to fight for? They're just going to be fighting all the time. You know, like the kid that's scrapping in school is going to be scrapping more because you're teaching them how to fight.
But that's the mentality of people that don't do what we do. You know what I mean? Like, again, I can only speak of my experience. So this is my personal view. There's thousands, millions of other people out there with completely different stories, completely different. So this, I found, helped my attention, it helped my focus, it helped with getting out aggression, it helped channel, put things into place. Like, every you wake up in the morning, everything's going on, I've got to do this, got to do that, fucking it's all over, but it's able to solve problems. Jiu-jitsu to solve problems. Like, you're stuck underneath some dude, like, in a really bad situation, they got their gi and they're wrapping it around your throat, right, and they're going to choke you out again, right? This has happened for the fucking 10th time and you're pissed off, right? Then you do something different. You've been doing this you've been doing the same thing over and over again. He's catching you every time. You do something a little bit different, right? Oh shit, I'm out. It worked, right? Problem solving, finding out, like, getting stuck in positions and figuring it out, right? Because and that's what helps with my personal journey. Well, so that's why I say about jiu-jitsu. For people with autism, it gives them that little bit of fucking focus on something else other than what else is, and it helps slow things down because you're thinking about that problem there, but there's thousands of other problems going on. But it enables you to stop and single out what problem is the worst, and you understand?
Because I mean, it's not about like the idea of teaching them mixed martial arts or something. I mean, you said it earlier, right? So you let the fight at the gym, right? You've had your fix, even for a fighter, right? So you're motivated.
Yeah.
You've left out the gym. You've got the confidence to think, well, if it goes off, it goes off. I'm not bothered. You know?
Do you know what? And then half the time you just sit there and be like, I want to enjoy a good fight. And you'll be like, is anything going on? But then half the time you'll sit there and think, you know what? I have better scraps with my mate down at the club. So you'll just turn your back.
Yeah.
You'll be like, you wouldn't even, oh yeah, that was going on. Like, it doesn't interest you.
No.
Because you have your fill. You have your feed of violence. And because, like, it is, you've got to feed that beast inside you. And that's what it's feeding it.
So, would you say that because the kids, like when they're fighting when they're like 14, 15, they don't realize that if they start doing that 17, 18, they're going down, they go to prison.
Yeah.
Right?
And exactly. You can do it all in the street and then you end up like, that's what happened to me. You know, it happens. But you know what? When kids at 15, 16, 17, they don't want someone like, unless they want to do it, right?
Yeah.
Then you can't force them into it. Like,
no,
I've had kids which is exactly the same. I like to speak to the kids over in Jersey.
Yeah.
And half I brought them down, and half of them were like, they could do it, but they'd be standing at the back like fucking chatting amongst themselves, looking on the phone, you know. And it's like, yo, you want to do this, and you're trying to force them into doing something. It's.
I mean, that's the kids that I work will want to do it. Like they literally, it's like, do you know when you're in a bar, right? And you know it's going to go off. You've already picked the two people that's going to go off. You know, when the second guy comes in and bigs up his mate, and then you can see the response in the eyes. And, that's the type of environment that are working with the kids. And it's kind of like that situation where you go, I become the focus then. I'm like, look, guys, what's the point of that? And they go, oh, you don't know what it's like, and and I've got a guy that's like,
you don't know what it's like.
Yeah, you don't know what it's like, and I'm like, yeah, I do, but we can't go there because that would be wrong. But I think it's kind of like this situation where I think like you get them all in the same place, and then the only way I get them on board is when they start talking, almost like it's going to be a boot camp, like put these kids through that, they'll come out the other side. But it really is that it's a place to vent, isn't it? It's a place to find your place and actually what you said, camaraderie, in it. It's a group of people where other people think the same thing. And you're not just the guy that likes scrapping. You're a mental get it, right?
Exactly. And that's where you congregate and you all go, like-minded people stick together, and it's you're in a gym and you're surrounded by people who's exactly the same as you. Like I enjoy waking up in the morning in New York, right? Jumping on the train at 6:30 in the morning, getting to Henzo's for 7:30 in the morning, before even having breakfast, and rolling, beating the shit out of each other like fucking for an hour, 2 hours non-stop. And it was a war zone in there, like, but I loved it. And everybody else loved it. And anyone who did it right was lawyers, doctors, like top people, and they go off to work for the day. You know what I mean? It's just great.
My last question really is, and this is quite a heartfelt one because for myself, I've had some quite big hits over the last couple of years, and with the kids, I watch them having to, fight life right from the beginning, and the fight's in them, and they don't even know how that got there, and I think what would inspire them from listening to you, right, is that you got the world championship, right? You did that, and then you lost, right, and you got to bounce back, and there's loads of kind of analogies for get knocked down so many times, get up more, and all of those sorts of things. But like I'm glad you said your knees, all right, because obviously it's a personal thing for me. I'm just feeling that. Do you know, like when you see someone get hurt and you kind of wince in yourself? I'm like,
dude, first kick, you broke my leg.
I mean, how do you, right, one, bounce back from kind of a loss like that? Right, because it means everything to you. It's your money. It's the bread on the table. It's everything, isn't it? It's who you are. And how do you bounce back from that? And do you use the same sort of ways in your life of getting back to it? You just got like, how do you get on with it? You know what I mean? How do you get yourself back up there? What's the deal?
I just bite into my mouthpiece and just fucking grind on. Just. That same inside fire feeling, you know what I mean? It depends on how bright it's burning. Because it's like, dude, 6 months drinking through a straw, right? You get some very dark fucking thoughts, you know what I mean?
I know,
But never once did I think about like, fuck, I'm never going to do this again. You know, like this is because it was just not me.
Yeah.
Whereas I had a chat with other fighters, you know, and they'd be like, yo, you're going to continue, you know, my face got smashed in. I wouldn't want to continue. And it's like, well, what else do I want? There's nothing else that I want to do. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I've always wanted to fight. I tried joining the army, wouldn't let me in the army, right? So I got into fighting. Like, this is my passion. So that's why it's so easy for me to just get up and go back in that gym and know, like,
it's because you want it, right? You want it more than anything. Yeah.
Exactly that. And I think until that want is gone, I'm going to want something else. And I liked your path that you've gone on. You know, the path that you helping troubled kids. You've done your fighting. You've got what you needed to do.
Yeah.
I just started late. You know, I just started this game like 10 years ago. So it's for me. Yeah. I've been through it. I'd lived my life, did my life, did a load of shit that I fucking like, which I'm glad I did. Wouldn't want to do it again. No. But now I've got my fighting, and once this is done, then I go into the next stage. But you've got to have that want, and you're always going to need to have that want. And
it's quite refreshing to hear that. It's like I said, I know my limitations, and I'm open about that. Not bothered. Do you know what I mean? It's like, cause I know who I am, and I think that like that when kids try to aim to do something, they just got to know that if it's really what you want inside, you'll keep going, right? And if it's not what you want, you're going to make a different. You're going to make some alterations. You're going to change it. You know. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. You have to know yourself, right? Yeah. And to know yourself, you have to go through the shit to know that you can fucking handle it. You know, and you know where your limits are. And you know where like it's and it's all a journey, man. It's all a journey. Nothing happens overnight.
No. It's been an absolute like pleasure because you're real. You know, this absolutely sucks when you're trying to speak to someone or interview someone and you think there's a little bit of a face, right? There's an agenda and stuff. And I think like that's what the kids that I work with, they see through that. You put on this falsehood, they just push you to one side.
They don't want to know.
That. Like, so that's wicked. Couple of things on a home thing. What you miss from the UK? You've got to miss something. I know it's probably not
crumpets.
Crumpets.
Fucking crumpets, like, dude. My mates are sitting there eating, what you got there? It's like crumpets. Oh my god. So I got Yorkshire tea over here. Like my mum sends over the Yorkshire tea. Yeah. But the crumpets end up coming over and they're a little bit stale. So that's always a treat when I get home.
Crumpets. All right, and do you know, like I said to my daughter, every time we go somewhere, obviously my wife's from Spain, so when we go to Spain, you can have an English breakfast anywhere.
Oh no, yeah.
Can you get English breakfast where you're at?
No. I end up having it, mate. I go to, as soon as I land in England, I go to the fucking airport fucking kitchen. Full English, please. Like, it's them, there and then. I don't even care if you connecting flight or no connecting flight. I'm trying to eat an English fry. My mates will be like, yo, what do you want? English breakfast. Like, yeah, I do miss the English fry up.
And you say you like a beer, right? So is it not my sister lives in the States. And I went over and I had this like Molson Ice and a Bud Light, and I just thought the beer sucked. It's like, well, yes. You're bound to miss a beer. What's the beer, right? So you got your full breakfast, and what's the beer going to be?
Oh no, so I like a good pint of Guinness.
Oh, Guinness.
I do like a good pint of Guinness. Nice. Yeah. I like Guinness, any stout or but there's a beer over here that I've been drinking. It's called Longboard, right?
Longboard.
I've got into that in the IPAs. I've got into the IPAs, like little bottle beers. But that was but the rest of the beers are crap, like the Bud Lights and all the rest of them. I'm not really.
You're someone 6'6", you probably drown before you get drunk on that stuff.
Well, in my younger days, like I was a sponge, but now it's not so much. Like it takes me fucking like yesterday, I had 6 bottles of this IPA, right? Yeah. And yesterday I was dying all day. So
that's an age thing, mate.
I know exactly.
6-day hangover and
well, today, so now I'm gonna go take the kids up to the North Shore. Go take Venom for the dip his first dip in the ocean. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Lee, I'm going to leave you to because I've had loads of your time, and I really appreciate it. So thanks for everybody over in the UK, and thanks for all the guys in the club. And I'll keep you updated with the kids, you know, as the business develops and stuff. And,
yes, do.
Yeah, we just
keep in touch
whenever we can, like. But absolute legend.
Thank you. Take it easy, buddy.
Keep up, and we'll make sure we're there to support your next fight, man.
All right, thanks, Mal.
Cheers,
Take it easy, buddy.
Take it easy. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.